Joining us now to discuss is Andrew Ullman, former National Economic Council Deputy Director under President Trump, and Ben Harris, the former economic advisor to President-elect Biden. All right, gentlemen, we've heard from each of your former bosses, and now we'll hear from you. And Ben, I'll give you the first question because it seems that both sides of the aisle now agree that there is an urgent need for stimulus. But perhaps interestingly, from the president-elect last hour, he was extremely coy about his interactions with Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, but he repeatedly said that he's encouraged. Do you read that to mean that perhaps they've spoken and he's gotten some sort of signal from McConnell that he's willing to move forward?
So I can't comment on that. I don't know. But I think right now when we look at the current economy and look what's needed and the potential harm over the next 2 quarters, it's pretty clear to people on both sides of the aisle. Those statements from Larry Kudlow and from the president-elect said it all, which is that we're looking at an awful 2 quarters. 20 million people on unemployment, 12 million could fall off at the end of the year if we don't get more stimulus. So it's pretty clear what our economy needs. And, that's a bipartisan concern right now.
Andrew, political capital is not infinite. The appetite for compromise is not limitless. And now President-elect Biden has said that not only does he want to advocate for this bipartisan stimulus package, but they're going to need more after January 20th. And I'm wondering how much that shortens the agenda and how much the Republicans will be willing to advance more of his priorities here.
I think this is a one step at a time. Let's work on this bill first, and then look into next year. There doesn't appear to be a bipartisan deal coming together. I've said for a long time that if you look at both sides and what they want out of a stimulus deal, it's really an issue of degree and not of kind. Most of the key programs they both support. And as you've seen this group of moderates come together with this compromise package, it really shows that there's not a lot of daylight now that we kind of get the numbers down to what's more practical. So I do think there's a real chance for this more targeted approach passing by the end of the year.
Of course, the incoming administration will also need support from Republicans on nominations. We got the rollout of the boldface names on the economic team this week. Andrew, I'm curious how you read the members of the team, what you think it signals about what the incoming administration will do, or when it comes to what the Trump administration did, what it will undo.
Well, listen, I think the nominees so far are certainly people who are good, respected people who I think view the economy the same way and economic policy the same way that Joe Biden does, which is appropriate. The one piece I would note is the so far kind of lack of real world business experience. Historically, presidents, as part of that economic cabinet, have somebody with some who's actually had to make a payroll. Certainly it's important to have academics and former government experience is critical to that team. I mean, that's the piece that as I look for future appointments on whether or not they're actually going to have some real world business experience as part of that economic team.
But Ben, clearly the recovery is slowing down a bit, and we can all understand the case for why stimulus is needed in the short term with the case count rising as fast as it has been. That said, if we snapshot growth for 2020 as it's likely to come in around 3 to 4% lower than 2019, should that actually, in a relative sense, be applauded if places like the UK will be down double digits and the rest of developed world, Europe, will be down high single digits? Is it actually a fairly impressive handling of the economy, all things considered, in 2020?
No, I don't think that 2020 could be declared a success by anyone's metric. I understand it was worse in other places, but it's also much better in other countries. We saw caseloads that were lower. Many other countries experienced much less economic disruption. So, when we do a postmortem on 2020, I think we'll find what we've come to discover, which is that we weren't prepared for the pandemic. We didn't get the leadership that we need, and the hardship was far worse than it had to be. So we're going to learn a lot of lessons from how we handle this.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.